Hello, and welcome back to the Military Matrix. Tonight we're following a rapidly developing story from the Eastern Front of the Ukraine war, an event that analysts say may be one of the most expensive and strategically devastating armored losses Russia has faced in months. According to multiple battlefield sources, a Russian armored column composed primarily of T-90M breakthrough tanks was struck and practically erased in a coordinated Ukrainian assault near Daetsk. The price tag of the destroyed Russian hardware: an estimated $60 million gone in a matter of minutes as U.S. supplied Abrams tanks and long-range strike drones executed a precision ambush that left Russian forces reeling, confused, and desperately attempting to regroup. The events began earlier in the morning, when Ukrainian reconnaissance units detected unusual Russian armored movement toward the Daetsk outskirts. Satellite cues, drone imagery, and intercepted communications suggested that Russia was attempting to push a reinforced T-90M column forward to probe Ukrainian defensive lines, possibly preparing for a localized breakthrough attempt. Ukrainian commanders immediately recognized the threat. The T-90M Prorov is not just any tank. It's the most modern, heavily upgraded, and most expensive operational tank in the Russian arsenal. Equipped with advanced relict reactive armor, a modern fire control system, and updated defensive countermeasures, the T-90M is designed to survive on contested battlefields where older Soviet-era tanks fail. But on this day, none of that was enough. Ukrainian forces quickly devised a trap that combined American war technology with Ukrainian battlefield experience. At the front of this engagement were M1A1 Abrams tanks, positioned in concealed hull-down firing points. These Abrams units were backed by an integrated drone network including Ukrainian-made strike UAV U.S., supplied switchblade loitering munitions, and a swarm of FPV kamikaze drones guided by real-time frontline observers. This combined DARM's approach would prove lethal. As the Russian column advanced, their confidence appeared high. Satellite imagery later confirmed the presence of at least 6 T-90Ms, several support vehicles, and multiple armored personnel carriers carrying infantry meant to follow behind the tank push. Their formation suggested that Russian commanders believed Ukrainian resistance in that sector was thin, possibly weakened by previous artillery barrages and probing attacks. But what they didn't know was that Ukraine had been deliberately letting Russia believe exactly that. When the lead T-90M crossed into the designated kill zone, the Ukrainian ambush unfolded with clockwork precision. The first strike came from a Ukrainian-operated drone hovering at extreme altitude, nearly invisible to Russian sensors. The drone dropped a guided anti-armor munition directly onto the rear engine deck of the lead T-90M. This area is notoriously vulnerable, even on the upgraded M version. Thermal footage later showed the tank erupting in a violent fireball as ammunition cooked off inside, instantly blocking the rest of the column's advance route. What came next was a nightmare scenario for Russia. The moment the first T-90M was disabled, Ukrainian Abrams tanks opened fire from two separate firing positions. Using their advanced fire control systems and thermal sights, the Abrams crews began targeting the remaining T-90Ms before the Russian column fully understood what was happening. From a distance that Russian tank crews struggled to respond to, the Abrams unleashed a barrage of 120 mm armor-piercing rounds. One T-90M attempted to pivot and return fire, but was immediately struck in the turret ring, its most sensitive vulnerability, causing the turret to violently detach in a plume of smoke. Ukrainian observers described it as instantaneous, precise, and absolutely overwhelming. Meanwhile, the drones moved in. FPV teams stationed in hardened shelters began launching coordinated waves of explosive-laden drones toward the stalled Russian armored vehicles. These drones targeted optics, engine decks, fuel stores, and exposed personnel attempting to dismount or provide support. The Russian infantry riding behind the tanks found themselves completely exposed when their armored protection turned into burning wreckage. Within minutes, Ukrainian artillery joined in, launching cluster pattern fragmentation rounds that blanketed the entire area, preventing any organized Russian withdrawal. The Russian column attempted to scatter, but thermal drones overhead tracked every movement. One T-90M, tried to reverse out of the kill zone, but was quickly struck by a Ukrainian Switchblade drone, diving straight into its upper armor. Another attempted to move forward, only to hit anti-tank mines that Ukrainian engineers had quietly planted days earlier in anticipation of a Russian armored maneuver. What made this ambush so devastating was not just the technology, but the coordination. Ukrainian Abrams crews communicated seamlessly with drone operators in nearby positions. Artillery crews received direct drone feed confirmation before firing. Recon teams updated targeting information in real time. This kind of battlefield synchronization reflects the evolution of Ukrainian military tactics since the start of the war, shifting from reactive defense to precision, offensive disruption. By the time the engagement ended, Ukrainian forces confirmed the destruction of at least 5 T-90M tanks, several armored personnel carriers, and multiple support vehicles. Russian casualties remain unconfirmed, but early estimates suggest dozens of personnel were killed or wounded. The total value of destroyed Russian hardware is estimated to exceed $60 million, a significant loss even for Russia's large but increasingly strained military, industrial production lines. What makes this event even more consequential is its strategic impact. The destroyed Russian column was reportedly part of a broader attempt to stabilize and expand Russian pressure in the Daetsk sector, a zone that has seen increased fighting in recent weeks. Losing so many U tanks in one ambush not only weakens Russia's offensive capacity in that region, but also places additional pressure on Russia's already overstretched armored reserves. Analysts note that Russia struggles to replace T-90Ms quickly. While the country can refurbish older T-72s and T-80s at scale, producing new T-90Ms requires precision components and manufacturing processes that have been hampered by international sanctions and resource limitations. The Ukrainian victory at Daetsk also underscores the increasing effectiveness of Western equipment on the battlefield. Abrams tanks, though used sparingly by Ukraine to avoid detection by overwhelming Russian drone surveillance, have proven formidable when deployed strategically. Their sensors, armor, and long-range precision give Ukraine the ability to perform ambushes that would be impossible with older Soviet-era tanks. Another key factor is Ukraine's rapidly growing drone warfare capability. Over the past year, Ukraine has transformed drones from reconnaissance tools into a full-spectrum combat asset, able to destroy tanks, disrupt logistics, and neutralize infantry units. The Daetsk ambush showcases how drones can be used to scout, blind, target, and destroy armored columns that once relied on sheer firepower and heavy armor for survival. Russian military bloggers reacted with outrage, criticizing commanders for sending elite tanks into a suspected kill zone without sufficient reconnaissance or electronic warfare support. Several posts questioned why the column lacked proper air cover or counter-drone systems, speculating that poor communication and outdated intelligence may have led to the disastrous advance. Some even suggested that Russian forces underestimated the presence of Ukrainian Abrams tanks, believing they were being held in reserve elsewhere. Ukrainian officials, meanwhile, highlighted the operation as a model for future armored engagements. They emphasized that this was not a lucky strike, but a carefully prepared operation blending Western technology, Ukrainian tactics, and battlefield intelligence. Videos released from the scene showed burning tank hulls, drone views of strikes, and columns of black smoke rising over Daetsk. This incident also raises questions about the future of tank warfare. The T-90M, a tank once heralded as Russia's most advanced battlefield platform, struggled to survive in an environment filled with drones, precision weapons, and long-range firepower. Many experts argue that the battlefield is shifting rapidly away from traditional armor dominance and toward combined drone-ground coordination. Others say tanks are still effective but must be supported by modern electronic warfare, air defense, and counter-drone measures, capabilities Russia has struggled to provide consistently. As night falls over Daetsk, Ukrainian forces are reportedly securing the area, recovering captured equipment and scanning for any Russian reinforcements. For Russia, this loss adds to a growing list of costly armored defeats. For Ukraine, it represents a morale boost and a proof point that high-precision, tech-driven warfare can offset Russia's numerical advantage. We'll continue monitoring this story as updates come in, from frontline reactions to strategic implications. But for now, the message is clear. In Daetsk, a combination of American firepower and Ukrainian battlefield ingenuity has rewritten the tactical map, leaving Russia with millions of dollars in destroyed armor and a major setback in its campaign. This is the Military Matrix. Stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, we'll keep bringing you the breaking developments shaping this war.